Hey everybody! In today's live stream, we are going to be picking the winner of this fairy house. This was actually February's fairy house, but remained unclaimed for 3 months, so it's back up. I'm sending messages to all of my patrons who have not given me their mailing address so that we can get your mailing address on file and keep this from happening again in the future. Hey! Also, I wanted to, there's a word for it that I literally just forgot. Hey Penny, what is the, unveil. Yeah, that's the word. Hey Jean, I'm going to be unveiling to you guys the fairy house that is in the oven right now. It'll be ready in about 20 minutes, and it is our next patron prize for our patron exclusive giveaway. It only costs $1 for you to participate, and it's good fun. Hey Laura Lee. So in the meantime of that baking, we were going to go ahead and pick out the winner, and I took a lot of y'all after last month's like kind of extensive rolling for the winner. Y'all were like, well, how about a random number generator? And I was like, well, how about that? And so I was able to print off everybody's patron information and put numbers next to them because our $5 patrons get their name in the hat 5 times. Oh, update on the van. It is at the mechanic. We talked to them this morning, and what'd they say, babe? Was it the...
They'd be tomorrow before they
it'd be tomorrow before they'll be able to pull it into the shop, I guess, and into the garage, but they think it's the starter. Quick question that Quintina is asking, do you like computer games, and if not, did you used to as a kid? I love playing The Sims. It's how I get myself through the winter when I can't actually garden, is I garden on The Sims, and I love designing houses and landscapes on The Sims. I also used to play the crap out of Tomb Raider on the PC. But I like computer games.
And King's Quest.
And King's Quest. So I never got like past like the beach scene. Like, but I kept trying. Hey Deborah. Shoot me an email, because we can just deal with your shark tooth payment outside of eBay. They've been making things exceptionally complicated, and I'm not that experienced with them. So if you want, just go ahead and shoot the payment on over via PayPal. So, but yeah, so I found a random number generator. I just Googled random number generator, and the numbers go from 1 through, let's see, 266. So, let's roll and see who wins, you guys. How do I roll? Oh, I guess I click generate. Number 255, which that is Sarah Nelson. Congratulations, Sarah Nelson. I will be sending you a message saying congratulations for winning, and then hopefully very promptly mailing your thing off to you. Deborah, don't send it through eBay, just send it through PayPal, or if you give me a little bit, we'll be on here for about an hour, I can send you a payment request. But you can just send payment to backtooearthcreations@yahoo.com for your shark tooth, which I have. Where's it at? There it is. Which I have right here for you. That's your shark tooth. Wow, that was way easier and almost feels a little anticlimactic compared to all the dice rolling and building up and being like, oh, who's gonna win round 2? But it leaves us more time for the Q&A stuff. So, oh, thank you. I got it from Goodwill. It's just a sweater. It's May 1st, but it's like 60 degrees and kind of chilly. So we have the heater going and I have a sweater on. So yeah, I'll get that packaged up to send off. And everybody gets a new number every month. So, how you doing over there, love? Poor Randy, his computer.
Doing as I do.
Right. His computer has blue screened 5 times?
6 times.
6 times? In the last, like,
2 hours.
2 hours?
I have no idea what's going on.
So he's freaking out. Oh, thank you. I cut my hair yesterday. Yeah, the dreaded blue screen. It's rough. La la la. Well, that leaves us plenty of time for other stuff. We still have like 20 more minutes until the next fairy house is like up. And it's not completely done yet because I still have to glue on some moss, but we'll get there. Clicky boop. Sorry, I'm doing some like quick setup stuff. The van infected the computer. It was contagious. He's not smiling. He's not amused.
I'm very upset.
He's very upset, which I understand so much, but he handles it so well. Okay, I'm trying to find where I can like type to you guys. The weather's doing a lot better, other than being pretty chilly. Like, I'm really glad I hadn't planted my tomatoes yet. Garten says, I just wanted to say that your work is beautiful, like your soul and passion. Oh, you guys are so nice. And I agree, Nikki. Poor guy. Poor man. You okay?
Oh, my headset's not working.
Okay. I'm just going to leave you alone in your misery.
Yeah.
Okay. So he's not moderating as much for me today as what I was hoping, but he's having some problems.
Do I hear 7? I hear 7.
7th blue screen. Hey, okay, Clarissa is making a Viking knit with seed beads because it looks pretty. Well, that's a perfect reason. So I'm glad that my tutorial is a helper to you guys. 82 sounds nice. Hey, Ingrid in the Netherlands. Found it. I found where the chat is, you guys. So the basement is no longer flooded. My cord still works, maybe. Hey, Miss Crafty Panda. Oh, the weather, the majority of my family lived it. Right on. You should yell bingo like an all. You should yell bingo, they said, because of B7. He looks like he's about to burn the house down, though, so I'm going to, again, just kind of, there's nothing I can do for him. Like, my level of IT is, like, waving a quartz crystal and some sage smoke at the computer tower. Which doesn't really help anything, but I'm pretty sure it's like wizardry that makes the internet work, so. Do I have any advice on how to hone the skills you already have or tips on how to gain more skills? Practice. So much practice. You're never too advanced to revisit your fundamentals. Experimenting with sometimes just going from like 24 gauge to 26 gauge can really affect the way that a piece looks. I might be able to pull up some pictures of our older work, but I brain farted. I'm so sorry. What was I talking about? Yeah, going from a 24 to a 26 gauge can really make a big difference just in the way, even like on this piece here, like if I had done this with a 24 gauge, it would have been much thicker and heavier, and my wrapping for me personally would not have been as even. Thank you, Nikki. And then it's just sometimes trying new tools can really help kind of push you over into nylon gel pliers were one of the big like stepping stone tools for me that was like, this has changed my life. And let's see. When taking up new skills, I have found that for me, none of this stuff came very naturally to me whenever I was starting to get into like wire wrapping. Like I started with beading and then I started doing macrame. And so the wire wrapping actually helped me to get better at macrame because I was already thinking a little bit more three-dimensionally, because it's like, well, it's going to wrap around behind and then this way, and then we can split it off in different ways. And then whenever I started doing wire wrapping, it was like, then, you know, we could incorporate more stuff that way. And then whenever I got into chainmail, that just blew everything out of the water. It's probably made a really awesome wrap for... Oh, well, I'm so glad to be helpful to you, Katie. Okay. Yeah, maybe somebody will send you $1 million. WBeater@AT&T.net. I'll go ahead and get you taken care of, Deb. If I can. Do I have problems with my aluminum chainmail being soft and pulling apart, or did I just get crappy rings? The one I have are the anodized 16 gauge 1/4 inch. I don't know. That's a good question. Like, normally, I actually have a sample here that I would not mind ripping apart for you guys. This is a 16 gauge 5/16 bracelet. And it took quite a bit of pressure to get that to pull apart. And you can see there was one weak ring that just came undone. And then this one started opening up a little bit more. But also keep in mind, I do heavy weightlifting and like all kinds of stuff. So that took quite a bit of pressure. I wish I had one of those like scales that I could have pulled on to see how many pounds of pressure that actually took. But the rest of the bracelet is still pretty relatively intact. If you want something very strong, go with stainless steel, maybe. The question Ingrid is asking, when you make something, do you know how it turns out, or does your creation turn out differently? It depends. Like, sometimes I'll have a set design in mind. Like, I can show you guys. This is my done tray, like stuff that needs tagged up for inventory. And I just recently made a tutorial for y'all on how to make these leather triquetra necklaces. And we're making them for inventory for in the booth. So I pulled out a bunch of different colored teardrops. And so with these ones, I had set a goal for myself, and I was like, I'm going to make 10 of this design. Because that's how many different colors we had. And so on stuff like that, it's like, I very specifically have, gosh, brain farting all over the place. I need to dump more coffee into my body. I have a very specific design in mind, but on pieces, like, again, I'm going to pull this one out. I did not plan this. This kind of just evolved and happened. And then, which booth? We're Back to Earth Creations. We're a traveling storefront. We go to, like, conventions all over the place. Nina is asking, let's see. Nope.
Can you do more tutorials on how to wire wrap eyes?
Nina's asking, can I do more tutorials on how to wire wrap eyes?
And set them in polymer clay for jewelry.
And set them in polymer clay. I'll definitely do that. Like, I've been meaning, I have this, like, list of all the tutorials that it's, like, I really need to make. And then I have the list of tutorials that I've actually made, and it's, like, not lining up very well. So, yeah, my next 2 tutorials that I'm going to be releasing are on chainmail. So, we actually will be at Phoenix Comic Con. The question is, will we have these at Phoenix Comic Con? But we're not going to have our booth there with us. We're going to be helping our friends with their t-shirt business. And so, but you can order them off of our website. So, hey, Anna. Trisha says, the chainmail reminds me a lot of crochet, and yeah, is like row by row, stitch by stitch. Okay, this is a good question. For someone who doesn't have a lot of money, what would you say is a good place to start crafting jewelry or leather type pieces? That's a difficult question. Start with what inspires you the most, because like I would recommend, just from a financial perspective, wire wrapping. But that's if you have a natural inclination to it. But it's like with a $7 spool of wire, you can create tons of different stuff. Like you can go to the river and find like pretty rocks and shells and wire wrap them into a piece that you could sell for like at least $20. And so your profit margin is going to be a little bit higher, but your time investment is going to be different. This is something I can show you guys. A tip for if you're getting ready to sell at an event and you need a lot more inventory. I jokingly call it varying degrees of handmade. But these are just a sampling, like a handful that I've grabbed. But I buy these pre-made bezels that are enameled steel from AliExpress. I haven't had any experience with them turning your skin green, but if you're very, very sensitive to metals, what I would recommend is just going over the back with Mod Podge. Or I wrote in Mod Podge just to be a bit of a troll. But in little cabochons. This is an acrylic cameo. This is a piece of black onyx. I really like gemstones and stuff, and I just sell these for, depending on, like, if it's something where I made the cab out of polymer clay, I'll start at like $5 for it. And this is how we really will beef up our inventory. And it gives us a varied price point, because like stuff like this one, this sold for over $60. Not everybody has that in their budget. Whereas if you just really, really want this, but you only have $5, well, this is $5, you know? Sarah asks, how can I price the pendants like the shark tooth? With that one, the way that I do my pricing is, I never charge less than 3 times the amount I invested in it. So if something cost me $5 in materials to make, that's not including any of my time or anything, but just like $5 worth of, you know, stone and setting or beads or, you know, just whatever, I won't sell it for less than 15. And that's just because you gotta start somewhere. And then like stuff like this one, like this was like probably a $3 cabochon and then like a 20-cent bezel. So it's like this one I would sell for 10 because it doesn't take very much time investment. But the shark tooth I spent like anywhere from like 2 to 4 hours on. So you'll be able to like it. Blah 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 blah. Words are so hard today. Like I've just been shooting like 3 hours worth of video sculpting this very house, so I'm like derping hard. Please be patient with me.
I'm gonna make a tutorial on how to close half Persian 3-in-1.
The question is, will I do a tutorial on how to close half Persian 3-in-1? That's actually the tutorial that's releasing tomorrow, is about like weaving stretchy 4-in-1. I probably have one right here. It's on how to make this bracelet that stretches. But it also, I go into a little bit more detail about how to join the ends together. The question is, what are some types of conventions that your inventory type sells at the best, such as steampunk, anime, etc.? That's a really good question.
Depends on the crowd.
It depends so much on the crowd. You're right, Randy. It's very difficult to gauge because like steampunk conventions, like everybody who's going there is like kind of hardcore steampunk, and like typically they bought everything else at another convention or made it themselves to then show up and show off, you know, their steampunk gear to all the other steampunkers. And so we don't actually sell very well at like very specific shows like that. We do best at like multi-fandom, like where it has sci-fi, so it has like Doctor Who and Star Trek tracks, but it also has like anime fan groups and a maid cafe, but it also has LARPers and an SCA presence, like all kinds of stuff like that. So it's the broader a net that we can cast, the more potential customers we'll have. How to find you guys, like Facebook, or to keep track of what's up, subscribing on your YouTube channel already. Oh, right on. If you Google Back to Earth Creations, all of our social media are like the first 5 hits. So the van is in the shop. We don't really find out what's wrong or how much it's going to cost us until tomorrow. The question is, where do I get my rings? Tired of mandrel rolling them and cutting. I coil and cut all of my own bright aluminum, but all of my other rings I get from theringlord.com. They're really good prices, very good quality. They're actually the folks that I get my wire from.
In order to coil.
In order to coil, yeah. Okay.
I found copper sheets.
I'm reading it.
Okay.
Valerie asks, I found copper sheeting coated with green plastic that I bought at a place that buys scrap metals and having a hard time peeling it off. What do you recommend to get the plastic coating off? I would recommend doing this outside just because there's no telling what they have in there, but maybe take a hair dryer and like warm it up a little bit and then peel it off. Sarah asks, the silver plated wire eventually will tarnish. How can it be clean? I'm not sure what you're asking, Sarah. For like sterling silver, you can polish with like polishing cloths and stuff. Trisha, that's excellent advice. Thank you. But with the bright aluminum, I just clean it with like a scrub brush and soap and water. Printer machines. Ooh, that's neat, Anna. Anna says she just stripped some printer machines and found some nice roller rods for making jump rings. Raven asks, have you ever thought of making adult-sized fairy wings? Yes. Oh my god, I want to so bad. But I've made like one pair in the past, but I was using like florist's wire, which is not the thing to use apparently. The question is, do you have any basic advice for people who want to start selling as a vendor? Do it. Like, just do it. It's find one, pay the money to get in, set up your booth, and just do it. Like, so many people will have all the right ideas. They'll build their inventory up. They're ready to go, and then they just don't. And it's like, that first step is sometimes the hardest. Because it is very daunting, but everybody else in that dealer's room was in your exact place at one point in time, and more often than not, they're willing to help you with any help that you need. Bring a dolly or like a cart or something to carry your booth in, because even if the convention center says that they have carts to use, they have like 2 carts and one of them has a derp wheel, and like you're gonna need your own cart. But yeah, it's like, bring a cart and just do it. You'll be great. And if not, learn from your experience and you'll do better next time. So I'm really glad that when Randy and I were first getting into this, we kind of jumped in head first and just started doing it. Nikki asks, what is the difference between Parawire and Beadalon? I actually think I have some Beadalon. Let me rummage. Dump some coffee in my body. I guess, Randy, you could come over here and sit by me. Unless you want to sit over there and be grumpy all by yourself.
Nope.
Okay. Looking for Beadalon wire. Surely I have some somewhere. Yeah, y'all, I reorganized my craft room. And now I can't find anything. Beadalon, where is you? Is this the drawer? Nope. Maybe? Nope. Nope. Aha! Okay. I knew I had some Beadalon. Yeah, I'm really bad about, like, I'd make a label and then be like, but there's so much, so there'd just be like lists. It'd be a list maker. Beadalon wire, at least the stuff that I have, this is 7-strand bead stringing wire. Oh, they're asking if you'd come hang out with us. He's over there and, like, he doesn't smoke, but if he were an old lady, he'd be sitting there being like, he's so mad. I love you so much, Randy.
That's good.
That's good. Maybe we'll win the lottery and we can get you a new computer. Yeah. Hey, Jax. Ooh, that's so good, Nigel. This is bead stringing wire. That's what Beadle-On, as far as I'm aware, I don't know if they carry wire wrapping wire, but it is just bead stringing. And it's perfect for doing like a strung necklace that you want to drape well, because you can take it and you can do this and it just comes undone. Whereas Parawire, come on, really? There's some. I was like, I always leave some out. Parawire is a copper core enameled wire, and if you take some and twist it around your finger, it stays there, which is perfect for wire wrapping, but not good necessarily for stringing up necklaces, because then if it gets pinched or something, it won't lay quite right. So I hope that answered your question. Kate asks, what is your favorite craft to do, and what are you most excited about harvesting from your garden? A real curmudgeon. He is a curmudgeon-y old man, but he's my curmudgeon-y old man, and I love him. Probably my favorite craft is all of them. Like, I can't pick a favorite. It's like some days I just feel like sculpting, like probably doing hybrid pieces. Like, and you'll see in like maybe 10 minutes. Hey, Randy, could you do me a favor? Could you go crack the oven open so it can start cooling?
Is it which oven?
Big oven. You guys will get to see in this month's first fairy house. Ah, I'm so excited. Hey, Miriam. The question is, what is a good way to network for vending? Ingrid, I do craft every day, whether I want to or not. Like, I am just addicted so hard. Does it look good? It didn't, like, melt or explode?
It was
or...
black, right?
No, it wasn't black. Don't tell me. You're lying, aren't you? I love you, jerk. What was I just talking about? A good way to network for vending, I'm so sorry, is to just basically talk to everyone, be friendly, shake hands, get business cards. There are a couple of different Facebook groups with varying levels of drama that are for vendors, but there's, like I said, a fair amount of drama in some of them. There's a fair amount of fear-mongering, because sometimes mindset is so much. Whenever you're sitting in your booth and you feel like, yeah, this is going to be good, we're doing great, you're exuding a completely different, just everything. Like, your energy is going to be so much more receptive, and you're going to be energetic and excited than if you're sitting there and you're just like, well, I saw on this group on Facebook that this show is going to be horrible, so this show is going to be horrible. Then you're probably going to have a bad show. So it's like, don't let other stuff on the internet get your mindset down, because you got to stay positive, because it's like customers can smell when you're desperate for money, and it makes them like walk on the other side of the aisle away from your booth.
Sarah asks, what's a good website? Because she doesn't live in a place where she can put up a kiosk.
Right on. The question is, what's a good website for selling your wares online? And that's, a lot of people have a lot of success with Etsy or Artfire. I personally just made my own website, just backtoearthcreations.com, because I figure if I'm promoting on Facebook or like promoting through the various social medias, I didn't want to direct potential customers someplace where yeah, be your own ray of sunshine, someplace where they could be just as easily redirected to somebody else's stuff. It's like, I worked hard to reel that customer in. I want to keep them in my online booth, basically, and really have a lot of control over like what their shopping experience. Like, there's not going to be advertisements for other things popping up on the side or things like that. So Nina asks, I have some air hardening modeling material. Can I use it for setting dragon eyes for jewelry, or is it polymer clay the way to go? I haven't had too much experience with the air hardening modeling clay, but I have lots more experience with the polymer clay, and I highly recommend it. It holds up really well. It's color fast. It's available in such a wide variety of colors and like effects and stuff. I'm trying right now to wire wrap a dragon eye to an aluminum bottle cap. So I hope it turns out well. I want to say thank you. Thank you so much, Tiffany, and happy crafting. I'd love to see how your battle cap dragon eye comes out. Nigel asks, how are the bunnies? And Gus is running around the yard. The bunnies are doing great, and Gus runs around when I'm out there to supervise them because I do not trust him to not break in and impregnate all of my females. The question is, what is the difference between stainless steel wire and copper core wire? In addition to the material type, so if you're going to be doing any kind of like soldering or, you know, anything like that, that would play a big part into it. But then also, I found that the stainless steel work hardens much more quickly than the copper does. It doesn't oxidize though, which is really nice. And then you can actually sometimes get surgical stainless steel, which is a 301 alloy that doesn't have any nickel in it. And so it's great for if you're very particular about not having any nickel because of metal allergies, or if you want to make like ear hooks or, you know, anything like that.
Would you be interested in any heirloom seeds?
I would love some heirloom seeds. Like, if anybody wants to send me anything, like in trades or just as gifts or like anything like that, like we're kind of getting some trade stuff going here, you can send stuff to P.O. Box 238, Carthage, Missouri 64836. After the live stream's over, I'll hopefully remember, future Vaughn, remember to put it in the video description like you always forget to do.
Do you ship to the Netherlands?
I do ship to the Netherlands. The question is, do we ship to the Netherlands? I ship internationally, but sometimes it can cost up to $15 depending on what like customs and different things there are. So if you're interested, just go to the website and see. It usually factors it in.
What's the price point you spend on materials?
That's a really good question. I just blew like $600 on a ring lord order for more scales and stretchy rubber rings. So that's pretty standard. But then this more...
Anodized.
Yeah, and some anodized rings. Basically all the stuff that I can't coil and cut myself, I get from the ring lord. But then this morning I called up my Tandy Leather and, like was able to just spend like $15 on like a bunch of conchos and some little rivets and stuff. The question is, have I used Kato poly clay? And I have. It's a little bit firmer, and the color spectrum isn't as diverse as what Sculpey is, at least here in the US, but a lot of the same like concepts, you know, of like working with it line up. Thank you, Jenny. You're so kind.
The big birdhouse behind you. Someone said I love the big birdhouse behind you.
The little birdhouses. Those birdhouses? Those are little wooden birdhouses that I had gotten at Walmart for like $1. But then I found out very quickly why they're just $1, and it's because they're like junk. But they'll be perfect for covering in polymer clay. So I'm pretty excited about that. And I wanted to show you guys how to kind of use maybe found materials as the cores for fairy houses.
Update on the van and or house.
Oof. Okay, the house is no longer leaking water, but the sky isn't dumping it on us anymore. The basement is finally starting to dry out. We haven't had to run the pump since last night. This morning, Randy says. And the van is at the mechanic shop, but we won't know until tomorrow what exactly it is that is wrong with it, as well as like how much it's going to cost. So hopefully, like, if it's just the starter, we'll be paying more in labor than what we do for parts, but that's, I don't know how to change out my starter. Like, so, I wish I had that skill set, but.
Any advice on how to budget?
That's a really big question. Like, budget just for the business or budget for, like, because for Randy and I, the business is so intertwined. Like, a lot of the times we won't get paychecks if it's not a very good show. So it's like we know how much our bills typically are. Like, the internet charges the same amount every month. The phone bill is the same amount every month. And then we have 3 years worth of records to be able to determine, like, whenever we hit like a max cap on like January and February are usually like our highest gas bills because our heater's gas. So it's like we just budget that much for like every month. And so that way if the electricity is a little bit more, like if something comes up, we kind of sorry, I was reading comments and got derailed. So we make sure that those bills are paid first. We make sure a little bit goes into savings for whenever everything hits the fan the way that it does. And then we spend stuff on prioritized. We absolutely need this first. And I think those priorities will be different for everybody. The question is, Nikki's asking about our Patreon pledging. And the way that works is you can pledge 1, 5, 10, 20, 30, all the way up. A month, and it does take out monthly. If you would like to send a one-time pledge, you can just send that on through PayPal. Our PayPal address is backtoearthcreations@yahoo.com. And you can go in and cancel the Patreon accounts too, and you can also like modify your pledge for if you're like, I think I want to move it from $1 to $5, or I feel like the $10 one is the best deal because you get something every single month and you're still in the running for the fairy house giveaway. Muggsy asks, how much does your grocery bill decrease with growing your own food? Do you see more of a decrease in the growing months? Yeah, Patreon takes a huge cut. They take like 10%. Now, not all of that goes directly to Patreon. Like, a lot of it is processing fees. Like, so somebody gets 10% of it goes to not me. So, but then that's just the nature of the beast because PayPal takes out cuts of stuff too, but they're pretty reasonable. Whenever we grow our own food, it's stuff that, like, in the winter, I just don't buy as many vegetables. Like, hey, Jenny! And so it's really hard to gauge. Like, we eat beans and rice a lot in the winter. And so and this will be our first year of growing more than half of our own food. But, and I'm hoping that we can hit the 50% of our food is grown on site, but we'll see how that goes. I know that raising our own meat helps a lot. I just recently helped, Hidden Thicket, one of my friends here on YouTube and in person, they're really cool, is going to start raising goats, and we helped put some money towards the startup fund for that because we're paying regularly $6 to $8 a pound for beef, and it's like that's way too much. And that's not even like grass fed or anything. That's just like if we want lean ground beef. And so I was like, Azimuth, I'll give you a ton of money or however much in advance for like 2 or 3 goats worth of meat and just start raising them. And, because he's very good at animal husbandry. I'm still looking for the seashell from here in France. I've not forgotten. Right on. Oh no. Where are you? Your tomato plant is dead? Yeah. Anna Hitchcock just recommended getting a dehydrator and vacuum packing food storage to save for winter times. We have a deep freeze. I do a ton of my own canning, and I'm actually going to be showing you guys how I make my own dehydrator out of Alton Brown style with a box fan and some air filters.
Where did you learn about local vegetation that you can feed your chickens and or rabbits?
The question is, where do you learn about the local vegetation that you feed your chickens and rabbits? A lot of it is I saw a plant growing in my yard. Like, how long have we been raising rabbits? Over 6 years.
Yeah.
So let's say 6 years ago, we, like, one of our roommates moved in with us and brought their rabbits, and I was like, there's this plant in my yard. What is it? And so I Googled it, and I was like, I wonder if that's edible. And I searched it, and it is edible. And then one of my favorite resources online is Rise and Shine Rabbitry. And the gentleman who runs that rabbitry has, like, a whole, like, list of, very comprehensive list of things that a rabbit can and cannot eat. And then, like, a gray area of, like, well, you can give them some. Oh my gosh, though. Like, I really have just derped myself. Like, is my brain still even in there? What do you use for fertilizing your vegetables and flowers? I'm just learning about fermented plant juice. That's a really good question, Muggsy. A lot of the times, like, I focus a lot on just building my soil. So, like, all winter, I'm putting on and letting decompose the bunny berries, and the straw and stuff, like the composted chicken manure, and I have, like, these compost towers, and stuff, and so I try to just build the soil up so that those nutrients are already there and available, and then I use mostly, it's very much like sheet composting, but, like, on top of a straw bale. So it's like sheet composting meets hugelkultur, but it's being raised by straw bales. Great American Farm Tour on YouTube. They are traveling from homestead to farms all over the country showing how people are doing things. That's really cool. Well, maybe I wish I had some horse poop. Like, you don't even know, Nigel. Horse poop is amazing. I love horses. It is, like, if anybody's got some poop, like, I'll take that. Like, I have a friend in Tennessee that one time they let us go out there, and they helped me, like, kept me company while I drug around. You were helping too, weren't you? Were you there? It was just Dan and I. And they let me just dig up all the horse poop I wanted out of this big field. Let's see. Have you thought about a worm farm? I have, and I basically just have my compost barrels set up in a way that attracts more earthworms, but I have, in years past, we traveled so much that it's like I wasn't there for, to maintain it, because it can be a little bit more high maintenance, like at least weekly, and sometimes, like last year, we were gone for 9 weeks in a row. In a 9-week period, we were only home like 6 days. So that was not enough. If we hadn't had roommates, like, I don't know what we would have done.
Where can you buy sterling silver and real wire? 14 karat gold.
Okay, for precious, the question is, where can I get precious metal wire? And the go-to resource for just about everybody is riogrande.com. And earlier, somebody had asked, excuse me, if Randy and I do this as our only source of income, and the answer to that one is yes. We've been doing this for 9 years now, since Randy quit his day job, and I stopped trying to get hired on by other folks.
I did get a job.
He did get a job over the winter at a factory, but that's because it's like, we were like, I was doing everything for the business at that point because we had cut back on shows a lot, and he's like, I'm bored, I'm gonna go get a job. And I was like, okay. We occasionally get earthworms from the ground, not bought.
How close do you get out to Virginia?
The question is, how close do we get out to Virginia? And recently, not very close. Like, we've been doing a lot of, like, just the Midwest. I'm lucky to have places to get metals and jewelry supplies here in my town. Pretty cool. That is pretty cool.
What things do you bring to conventions other than your inventory, like food, etc.?
The question is, what do we bring to conventions other than our inventory? And that's, I have 2 coolers. One gets brought into the booth with us, and it's what we keep our granola bars and, like, applesauce packets. Like, the food that we bring is very focused on being quick to eat, and, like, not messy. Like, one time we brought hummus, and, hummus and, like, broccoli, which the broccoli got all up in our teeth, and the hummus was, like, garlic. Like, you could see your breath attacking people. And then, that same weekend, we also had tuna salad, which I guess we just ate like a lot of very pungent foods back then. But like the whole craft show smelled like hummus and tuna because of us. And we were very like just eat it faster. So also we always bring very minty chewing gum with us to be like, because we don't want to like be helping somebody. Like I'm always afraid of whenever I'm putting somebody into a costume being like morning breath, coffee, you know, vinegar feet, like whatever my breath might smell like that day. Like I don't want to be like bleh, up in their face, because I mean even if somebody's like, wow, you're really nice, but I just died inside because of your breath. Neverland. Anna, I am still going to try the baby dragon in an egg, but speaking of stuff, I'm going to go grab this out of the oven to show you guys, so I'll be right back. I'm so excited. I really hope you were lying to me, Randy. It's not completely black.
I don't know which is in there.
That's so cool. Okay. Look it. You get to see it before everybody else. Drum roll, please. Are you guys ready? Oh no, my battery power is low. Before I show you this, I have to plug my phone in. Thanks, Mugsy. Yeah, dog breath.
Bog.
Bog. Bog? Oh, bog breath, not dog breath. Okay. So like, can you do a drum roll, Randy?
No.
Fairy house! Yeah! So this is, I'm not completely done with it yet. I'm going to be adding in a lot of, well, not a lot, but just a tasteful amount of the dried moss and different stuff. But like, look at it, has a little pond, you guys, little quartz crystals, and I finally shot that tutorial for how to make a 3-dimensional wire tree, and its little roots coming down. And if you guys are interested in this, the drawing for this will be on, what month is it? Is it May? May 15th on Patreon, and even for just $1, it'll put your name in the hat for the giveaway. If you pledge $5, it puts your name in the hat 5 times. So, but I'm so excited about this one, you guys. Like, but yeah, like I'm gonna have around the base of it, like the moss, and there's gonna be like a little bit of moss, and then just a little bit, like. This one will actually be coming out in the next couple of days. I'm still shooting it. Like, I don't know if you guys can see, but like I've got a camera set up right there and a camera set up right there. And the way that we'll draw the winner is just like today. I'll print out a sheet of our updated patrons, and I'll assign each of y'all a number, or 5 numbers if you're a $5 pledger, and then we'll announce the winner. Like, the winner this time was, and I should really highlight that person's name so I don't forget. It was Sarah Nelson. So that's pretty exciting.
If you donate through PayPal, does that count for the drawing? If you donate through PayPal, does that count?
If you donate through PayPal, it does also put you into the drawing, but only for that month that you've donated for. Ooh, the question is, if you brought me a stone to Phoenix, would I be willing to make it into a pendant for you? I would love that. I might not be able to do it there at the show, just because I might not have all my tools and materials with me. Hey, Skippy, thanks. I'm glad you like what we do here. But I can take it home with me and then ship it to you. So that's definitely an option. But yeah, guys, I'm so excited about this one. And it's got quartz crystals, and then these little guys are actually double terminated moonstones. And then it's all just little seed beads up in the top. So this could be yours. The question is, does YouTube help much for business recognition? I don't know. Like,
Would you just wake up?
Online, yes, but like at a after like really pushing YouTube since August of 2016 was whenever I started doing a video a day, and we've had some people come to conventions, like, I mean, just a handful, but it's enough to like really give me like a really big head about it, and be like on cloud 9. But we've had a few people show up and be like, oh my god, it's you from YouTube, and I'm like, yeah, hi, I'm from the internet. But it definitely helps with our online presence, because a lot of y'all found out about our company by coming and watching some of our tutorials and stuff. So, and our ring sales have definitely increased. Okay. Oh, thank you, Anna. Oh, Michelle says that they're not a gamer, but they still follow you on your channel, and that he is so calm. He says he appreciates it so much. I'm really excited for him to like kind of hit his groove and find what he likes the best and stuff. So we'll see how that goes for him. Do y'all want to meet Harley? Hey, Harley. Come say hey to the internet.
Go over there.
She's can I show you on the camera, Randy? She's currently getting morning kisses from Randy. So, oh, did she just do dog breath in your face? Oh boy. Come here, girl. Well, Z's here, and he's like, I'm almost as good. Come here. Oh, this is Z Dog. Hey, baby. And then this is his Bubba Sam. Can you? This little Sam, where'd you go? There you are. That's Sam Dog. He's just quiet. But yeah, they're attention buggers. Yeah, they're doggos. Okay, go love on Daddy. Go on. Sam and Z are mutts. Their mom we actually found underneath our car whenever we lived out in southern Tennessee. I came home from school and like I got off the bus and I saw something moving under the car, so I dropped my books off in the house and Randy was asleep on the couch. He worked third shift at the time, so yeah, it's pretty expensive to adopt from the pound. But she was just I named her Hazel.
Funny story. Funny story on how she got her name.
Yeah, but it's like she was just this mangy, starved, like bloated from being sick with worms, but still like emaciated, and just covered in fleas and mange. So I brought her in, and how did it go, Randy? I held her in your face apparently, and was like, "Can we keep her?"
Like, less than 2 inches from my face.
Less than 2 inches from his face, and he was like, do you want to come over and tell this story with me? No? Okay, we'll tell this story another day. That's true. He's got a Harley on him. Oh, right on. Melissa says, I first met you at a convention and then found you on YouTube by pure chance. Thank you so much, Melissa. I'm glad to be helpful and an inspiration to you guys.
What is your definition of a profitable show?
The question is, what is our definition of a profitable show? Y'all are full of really good questions today. Typically, what we'll do is, if we invest $500 into a show, we need to make back we need to make $1,000. Otherwise, we're not going to go back to that show. Because it's like, if we don't at least double our investment, then there's other shows we can be doing. What you mean
by 500 is expense to get there, hotel, food, and...
Yeah, and that's, if we spent $500 to be there, that's like, if that's our total cost. And usually, like, $500 is like a cheap show. Because it's like, hotels are pretty expensive, food and gas are expensive, conventions are just really expensive now. But
so we're dumbing down the numbers.
Yeah, we're simplifying up the numbers for simplicity's sake. And so a good show for us is if we did 500 and we make 2,000, because that's like, okay, I can deal with those numbers. Like, that gives us more money to invest back into the business, that lets us cover our bills, like, that lets us you know, put a little bit into savings, you know, because we're always trying to prepare for that whenever 5 or 6 shows in a row don't go well. Because like last year for us, like vending wise, we didn't lose money at any shows, but it was a whole lot of, we invested 500 and only made 1,000, kind of like, we can't live on that. You know, and it's like, at that point, it's like, why are we traveling so much to work so hard to do all of this for like no paycheck? And so that's why we started kind of really focusing a lot more onto,
like 1,200 for Phoenix, wasn't it? The booth.
Yeah, like for the Phoenix Comic Con, it's 1,200. No, it was like 850 for a booth.
Oh.
For like on the 3rd floor of the building that.
Yes, but what Tracy paid for her.
But our friend that we're helping in their booth was 1,200, and that's quite a bit to spend. Like at Dragon Con, a booth is 1,330 because we get an extra badge. And it's just like, conventions can be pretty expensive. So sorry, it's like, just thinking about the numbers gets me kind of stressed out.
How did you decide to start vending?
The question is, how did we decide to start vending? I was always kind of crafty because I had metal allergies. So like I was changing out the ear hooks and the clasps and stuff on the jewelry that Randy was getting me when we first started dating. And then I got into like stringing beads because Randy and I both liked gemstones. So like, you know, for one of our dates, we went to Hobby Lobby and like picked out some chip beads, and then I like strung them up and, you know, made like a necklace to wear to the Ren Fair. And then it just kind of kept growing just a little bit from there. Like, I started getting more beads just because, oh, rocks, they're pretty. And then Randy got me, for an early Christmas present, he got me a chainmail kit from the Ring Lord, which had, like, 5 different metal types and a bunch of different ring sizes. And, like, within, like, a month, I had made, like, 80 bracelets because there's so many different weaves to do and, like, so much. It's so exciting. And then I was like, I don't wear bracelets. And so we found Randy's dad at the time was part of like the Lincoln County Art League, which has a craft show during the Host of Christmas Past. And so we paid like $50 for a table at this craft show, and we made like $500 in 3 days, which at the time, like, minimum wage was still, like, what was it, $5.75 or something? Like, it was not a whole lot. And we were mind blown. We were like, what? Like, and so I took some of that money and we bought more materials and a couple more displays, and we paid $20 to be in the basement of some building in Lynchburg, Tennessee, for a 1-day show, and we made like $200. And we were like, that's okay, that's pretty good. And then a friend recommended to us conventions. And so, because like there's not after Christmas, there's this whole gap of like January, February, March, where there are not a whole lot of craft shows. March, they might start to pick up a little bit, but there's not a whole lot of craft shows. So we were like, no, we kept doing just craft shows for a whole nother year, didn't we? And so we had a dry spell. I started building a website. I started pushing our DeviantArt presence. And Randy was still working for Walmart at the time because he'd been laid off from the factory and he was working at Walmart. And whenever we were booking a craft show, he'd be like, okay, I need this weekend off. You know, I'm going to pay these people like $80. I need to be there. And they were like, oh, yeah, whatever. And then it'd come 2 weeks before the show and they'd have him scheduled. And then he'd talk to his boss and be like, I talked to you about this. Like, I thought, and they were like, oh, well, there's nothing I can do. It's on the schedule. And it's like, you're the person who made the schedule. What do you mean there's nothing you can do? It was endlessly frustrating.
Well, I feel sick in 2 weeks.
A whole lot of Randy being like, well, I'm going to be sick in 2 weeks, so you need to schedule somebody else. And they were like, oh, well, you can do that. And he's like, if you're not going to work with me, what do you want from me? You know? And then it was that September, minimum wage had gone up to 7 something. And Randy at this point had been $7.15, and Randy had been working there for a year and a half at this point, and they gave him, and this was his second, he calls it his second tour at Walmart, because he had worked at Walmart, then he'd worked at the factory, then he'd worked at Walmart again. And it's they gave him a 5-cent cost of living raise. And so the buggy pushers getting hired on were making $2 more an hour than he was. And he was like, this is bullshit. I'm done. And so I looked at him and I was like, quit your job. In, what is a 6-month period? Mm-hmm. It's 6 months if you quit before you can be hired back on. And I'm like, worst case scenario, this does not work out, and you get hired back on making $2 more an hour. That's 10 years worth of 5-cent raises. So it's that's our worst case scenario. We had a little bit squirreled away. It's we're already barely paying our bills. We didn't have any kids. We didn't have any responsibilities, really. So it's worst case scenario, we get day jobs. And that was 9 years ago. So it was a whole lot of, please pardon, but the reason we started vending was a whole lot of this. You guys, I'm out. This is bullcrap. I'm not going to spend the rest of my life busting our butts for scraps. And it's I had gotten my associate's degree and was working towards my bachelor's, but I had gotten it at University of Phoenix. And they laughed in my face whenever I tried to get hired on. And they're like, that's a diploma mill. And I'm like, a diploma what? Because I owe them my soul basically now in money. Sorry. Okay. What am I talking about? Randy's just over there that. Yeah, sorry. Usually I'm cheerful, but the house is leaking and the van's broken, and I think I'm getting hangry.
Well, I think we've gone over the hour.
Oh, really? Okay. Can you do a craft sale, a yard sale at our home? We could. I think the question is, could we do a craft show out of our at home? And it's ooh. Tiffany asks, was wondering when you were going to start your cosplay series again. And hopefully soon. I sold the belt, you guys, to that outfit because I didn't quite like the way it sat on me. So now I really need to make another one. And then I got this stuff for a staff, and it's I got some stuff for making clippity-cloppity hooves, bigger hooves. And so it's it's getting there. So I'm so hoping that we'll be able to do that. But Randy's right. We are over our hour mark. Thank you, everybody who's come out and hung out with us. Stay tuned in the next couple of days to see how this was made, as well as how it comes out, because this is not its final form. If you're interested in participating in our giveaways, please check us out on Patreon. It's patreon.com/BackToEarthCreations. Or you can just Google us, or if you're watching this after the live stream, please go ahead and comment and stuff. I'll have it down in the video description below. If you guys have any questions, please leave them down in the comment section below, and I'll try my best to get back to you. But yeah, I hope y'all have a fantastic day. Thank you so much for hanging out, and happy crafting. We'll see y'all around. Bye. Uh-oh. Oh, yeah. What?